Hey, welcome back to the Comic Cosmos. Today we'll be reviewing Stargirl Season 1, Episode 1, and giving you an in-depth breakdown, Easter eggs, and theories. Warning, spoilers ahead for Episode 1. Enjoy. So we start off the episode with a flashback of 10 years into the past, known as a year when the golden age of heroes ended. We see Pat Dugan, aka Stripesy, driving and talking to Sylvester Pemberton, aka Starman. He drives to the JSA headquarters, which is under attack by the Injustice Society. In this fight sequence, we get to see many members of the JSA and the Injustice Society. We immediately see Wildcat being thrown out of the house and presumably dies, although we don't see it happen on screen. We then get to see Owlman fighting Tigress, and shortly after get zapped by the Wizard. Now we don't know if he dies or not, so we may see him later in the season. We then see Dr. Midnight getting dragged off, implying that he dies, but we can never be sure. We also get a glimpse of the original Flash Jay Garrick's helmet, Sandman. Later in the episode, we get to see a picture of the JSA, which consists of Rex Tyler, Owlman, Sylvester Pemberton, Starman, Ted Grant, Wildcat, Charles McNider, Dr. Midnight, Jay Garrick the Flash, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, Wesley Dudes, Sandman, Carter Hall, Hawkman, Kendra Saunders, Hawkgirl, Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate, Johnny Thunder, and his Thunderbolt. But we don't get to see them all on screen, and we may get to see some that never died later in the show. In terms of the Injustice Society, we see Brainwave fight Starman and Icicle stabs him, which eventually kills him. This means that in the show, the Injustice Society consists of Jordan Markent, Icicle, Dr. Henry King, Brainwave, William Zarek, the Wizard, Lawrence Kroc, Sportsmaster, Paula Brooks, Tigress, and Solomon Grundy. After this scene, we get to see the title card and then a young Courtney Whitmore who's waiting for her father to come home for Christmas. But she unfortunately doesn't get what she wishes for. There is then a nice transition that brings us into the present day where Courtney and her mother are packing to move house, and we get a montage of Courtney's photos where we get to see lots of awards that she won and things about her childhood. We see that she does both gymnastics and karate, as well as we get to see her boxing gloves, which I guess show us that she's already an agile fighter even before she gets to staff and becomes Stargirl. Courtney also looks at a present which is the same one she wanted to give to her father 10 years ago, which she obviously never got to give him. So Courtney moves from Los Angeles, California to Blue Valley, Nebraska, which we learn is because of her mom's new husband, Pat Dugan, aka Stripesy, and his son Mike. Mike's a very interesting character, and he's like really weird, and I don't really know if I like him yet or not, but I guess we'll have to see what happens throughout the season. We then get to see a map, which shows that Pat Dugan has actually been trying to track the Injustice Society, probably since the JSA was disassembled. This shows that he actually came to Blue Valley for this very reason. So Courtney obviously isn't happy with this move. And this makes her relationship with Pat a largely negative one, as she blames him for moving to Blue Valley. I guess this means that we'll have to see their relationship strengthen in the next few episodes. We also get to see Pat's iconic car, as well as Pat's old JSA materials, which are being moved inside the new home. The family goes into town and we see many adverts and shops on the way. We see an advert for Blue Valley Tires, which is where we actually see Brainwave later in the episode. We also see the diner that Pat and Barbara met, and when Courtney asks Pat why he was even in Nebraska, he gives a vague answer, which probably means he was there on JSA business. Back at the house, Pat goes through some of the JSA material, and we get to see Rex Tyler, Owlman's notebook, letters, Starman's suit, JSA classified files on the Injustice Society, which could be a nod to the JSA comic of the same name. When Courtney goes to bed, she first looks at the stars, which shine in what I can't tell if it's supposed to mean something. Or maybe I'm just crazy, I don't know. Let me know if you see something. Anyway, the next day, Courtney goes to school and we meet Beth Chappell, Rick Tyler, and Yolanda Montez, who will mean something to you for those who've read the comics and seen the posters. We don't see much of them in this episode, and this scene shows us what each character is like. Rick we see is shy, and also doesn't really want to make friends. Beth we see is friendly and also doesn't stand up or defend herself when people bully her. And Yolanda we saw the least of, but what we can see of her so far is that she is also a shy character. Pat also opens an auto repair shop and meets Lawrence Kroc, aka the Crusher, which I won't spoil if you don't know the comics, but you'll know he is definitely a prominent character. Barbara also starts her new job at the American Dream, and we see Councilman William Zarek talking to the CEO of the American Dream, Stephen Sharp, who again will definitely play into the show later on if you've read the comics. Back at home, Courtney goes to the basement and finds out about Pat's secret, and we get to see a lot of JSA files and equipment from all the JSA members, as well as intel on the Injustice Society, which will most probably help them throughout the season. She then encounters the Cosmic Staff, which comes alive when she is going through the JSA stuff. The staff takes her to an outdoor movie theater where the Goonies are showing, and she takes down the bullies from school with the help of the staff and then blows up a car, or I guess the staff does. After Pat finds out, Courtney starts to think that Starman may actually be her father, as he disappeared on the same day that Starman died, on Christmas Eve 10 years ago, and that would explain why the staff works for her. But her mom sets her straight and says that her father wasn't here at all and he was kind of a jerk and only showed up like once a year, and that Pat Dugan was the only man who had been there for them, which makes her reconsider, but I feel like she'll always keep this in mind for the rest of the season. In terms of what I think about this, I don't really think that Starman was a dad, as I mean, surely her mom would know this, because Starman never even wore a mask, unless she's trying to hide it from her. Besides, the show seems to show that Courtney dreams of an amazing father figure, as we saw when she looked at her father and daughter in her diner. And I think the person that becomes a father figure to her will be Pat. Pat also goes over his history with Starman, and that they met when they were 15, which is actually the same age as Courtney is now, and that he used to be called the Star-Spangled Kid, which is what Stargirl was first called in the comics. We then learn that the bully's father, from the movies and school, is actually Brainwave, a member of the Injustice Society that we saw earlier, and when he learns about the staff, he thinks Courtney purposely attacked his son. I mean, to think, if she had just attacked someone else, man, that's unlucky. Anyway, Brainwave suits up and communicates with Jordan Marquand, Icicle, who's confused as he killed Starman. Later, Courtney is training with the staff, and I have to say, I really enjoy these scenes. It's really cool to see behind-the-scene footage of how they did this, these scenes look so cool on screen. Anyway, Brainwave then brings her to him with his telekinetic abilities to Boo Valley Tires, where we get to see just how powerful he really is. Courtney manages to get away, and is then encountered by the Special Tactics Robotic Integrated Power Enhancer, aka Stripe, better known as, which is a big robotic armor machine. And we get to see that it is being controlled by none other than Pat Dugan, who made Stripe out of auto parts. Which, if we go back to see when they arrive in Nebraska, we can actually see these parts being delivered to the house. So Pat is obviously not happy with Courtney that she went out with the staff. So there will be a bit of tension there for the next episode, which is actually named Stripe. In terms of what I thought of this episode, I really did enjoy it, and I think it was a really good episode. I think it was a great introduction to establish the character of Stargirl, and very nostalgic to see all the original JSA characters. But I'm also glad the episode wasn't too chaotic, and I think it was a good idea to leave other episodes to introduce the other members of the JSA and the Injustice Society fully, especially because there are a lot of characters that come into the show later on. All in all, I'm really excited to see what comes later in the season. Anyway, thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe and leave your thoughts on the show and any theories or Easter eggs you found. Thanks for watching. Cheers.